Hey guys, welcome to Panthers Forecast. It was a nightmare on Mid Street. That was a bad game. That was a really bad game. But I knew we shouldn't have taken the Saints lightly. I said that on my last video. Make sure to give that a look. It's Carolina Panthers versus New Orleans Saints, a nightmare on Mid Street. But I know a lot of people thought that we were going to go out here and blow out the Saints, but it just didn't happen. I knew we had to, take the Saints seriously. If you look at their games against the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, who blew us out, and the Saints actually played pretty competitively against those two teams. But I wrote down some notes about this game of what I noticed, and I'm just going to share some of the brief. So. The thing I want to talk over about in this video is Bryce Young and our receivers, how the Saints neutralized our run, and just Dave Canales and some of his play calling. And the only good spot in this game, I would say, was our defense. So starting off, we have to find something with the receivers and Bryce Young because I feel like T-Mac is starting to get that Christian McCaffrey treatment. And what I mean by the Christian McCaffrey treatment is when Cam Newton was our quarterback, instead of us investing in an offensive line, we always sort of target McCaffrey. McCaffrey would always get those short little pass, and it would like help Cam's completion rate, but as well as keep the Panthers away from having to spend on the offensive line because Cam could just quickly throw the ball out to McCaffrey. And I felt like with McCaffrey that kind of hurt the Panthers from not developing that offensive line with Cam, but with the Panthers, it's hurting us that sort of same thing where every ball is being thrown to T-Mac, and I can probably pull up and look. Let me check over here and see if I can pull it up because I know he had to have a bulk of the targets, but we can't have that going on forward because we need to start getting Jimmy Horn. We need to start getting Coker. We need to start getting these other receivers into the game. I'm going to pull up right now these stats from the game and just see how many targets did he get compared to the other guys. So, yeah, looking at the targets let me go right there. All right, so we have JT Sanders with 5 targets, Teteron McMillan with 8 targets, and then our next receiver is Jalen Coker with 4. Then it's going to be Rico Dowdle, a running back, with 3, Chuba with 1, and then Leggett and Mitchell Evans with 1. So, I mean, we need more of our receivers to be up there on that list. T-Mac is getting the bulk of it, and we're probably gonna have to do a receiver overhaul, maybe in free agency and in the draft. We're gonna probably have to bring in another receiver or two because the game can't just surely just go straight to T-Mac. We have to get these other receivers in, and this is when Dave Canales play calling needs to come in. He needs to find another way. That screen, that jet sweep play, was terrible. I mean, I don't understand why we can't just use Jimmy Horn as a Adam Thielen. He's fast, he's twitchy, just try to get him on some slants, try to give him a deep post, try to give him like a long streak. I don't get it. I feel like if Jimmy Horn was on the Saints, they would have used him the same way they used Chris Olave and even try to, throw the ball deep. So those are some issues that I've noticed with the Bryce Young and the receiving core. He doesn't really seem to have a lot of connections with XL or Coker or Jimmy Horn. And another thing that hurt us too was Bryce Young's miscue. He was bailed out twice from a roughing the passer. He threw like a bad ball like into triple coverage. I think it was to JT Sanders that it got intercepted. I believe that was in the first quarter, but there was a roughing the passer call on him where one of the defenders, I think it was DeMarco Davis, hit Bryce Young in his face mask. And, that was probably a pick. And then he had the second one in the fourth quarter where we went for it on fourth down, and he tried to throw it in. He got hit, and it was a rough in the passer call, and that was able to allow us to extend the drive. And then he had another throw to T Mac where I think Alontae Taylor came up, faked the blitz, but then went back into coverage, and Bryce just floated that ball out there in the middle of nowhere. I guess he thought T Mac was just going to be wide open to just come and get it, but Alontae Taylor was able to jump in front of it and get that interception, and that's what pretty much sealed the game and sealed our fate against the Saints. The Saints, what they did was they neutralized our run. They stopped Rico Dowdle, but this is something that's really intriguing to me, is that Rico Dowdle was hurt. He had a hamstring. We should have ran Chuba more. Chuba's not hurt. We should have ran the ball more with Chuba. And you're going to notice something. So you saw that I mentioned that Rico Dowdle was hurt, injured, and, they had him on the sideline, but it was the same thing with T-Mac. So the Panthers thought that we were going to walk into this game with two of our key, Rico Dowdle had been our electricity on offense. He was hurt, and, he was banged up. And the Saints had 8, 9 guys in the box. They were ready to stop the run, and you were going to put an injured back, and we were hoping that was going to stop them. And then when it came to our pass game, our best receiver, T-Mac, is hurt and injured. So, you know what I'm saying? How are we going to win that game when you have two of your best offensive player injured, wobbling around, not at full strength, and you don't have other guys? So, what happened today was just pretty much we got our ass handed to us. They just threw it right back at us. You're not gonna beat a team when your offense relies on a running back like Rico Dowdle that is hurt and injured, and he can't give you the electric spark. And then your wide receiver game, Coker. Coker was just really getting those out routes. He would do a 5. Then he'll cut out, and he was just getting those balls. And then Leggett, Bryce got rushed, but that one in the end zone. That's just pretty much. Bryce didn't really have enough time. He did the best he could put it where Leggett could at least make an attempt. But we have to. We're probably going to have to rehaul this wide receiver room. We're going to have to probably add another one and maybe one or two wide receivers to this group that can get open and that has speed, because and also too with the running back. I don't think there's nothing wrong with our running back. I think the more the issue is our wide receiver group. But as far as the Saints neutralizing the run against us, of course when our other receivers aren't doing anything, it's just easy for them to load up the box with 9 and get that stop. And even too, we may even have to look at a tight end, because Jatavian Sanders hasn't been producing too much for this team, as long as extending plays. He shows up every here and there. He might have 5 games a season. One game he'll show up, the next 3 games he's silent, and then he does pretty good. But yeah, that was pretty much my thought on that. And then lastly, our defense. I would say our defensive ends did pretty good in this game. They got to Tyler. Shaw. I probably still got his name wrong, but it's what is it? Shaw. I'm just gonna go with Tyler. Tyler. Yeah. Tyler did a good job for the Saints as their quarterback. But our defensive line, they did a great job of rushing him and getting him off the points. He still made some big plays, but Nick Scourton, he was. That was the only thing that was keeping us in this game a little bit from him getting that sack on the fourth down, and then also in the beginning he was getting close to him, but Tyler was able to maneuver out, and then he got that one big play to their tight end. I think Jawan Johnson that he was able to take for like 56 yards. But this game right here, I just think the Panthers, uh, we got to learn. We got to get other receivers involved in the game. That has to be that had. I mean, we didn't make any moves in the trade deadline, and I seriously do believe that if we start messing around with our receivers and not so much focusing so much on T-Mac, but it's starting to feel like we may not have that answer now. Like this, the answer for the wide receivers on this team, we may have to wait till free agency or the draft to address this. But there is probably going to need to be a wide receiver overhaul on this team. And then the issue with the running backs on this team is that I think Chuba should have had gotten more carries since he was a little bit more healthier. And then I felt also too Chuba. I don't like how Dave Canales is just sort of tossing them to the side, and we're just staking all our chips. Like, yeah, Rico's the more explosive back, but we need to have sort of like a sun and moon relationship with Rico Daddle and Chuba. You know what I'm saying? Like how both the sun and the moon have their parts and they do their roles. And I think that's the same thing with Rico Daddle and Chuba. Chuba was healthy today. He should have probably ran and got things going, and we can sprinkle in Rico in the game. Because I mean, if we would have had a consistent running game, I think Chuba would have did a good enough job to get it flowing. But we still also, because like I said, the running back room is fine. It's just that Rico's injured, and the Saints, they were prepared to stop the run. They were coming into this game to stop the run, and the Panthers, for whatever reason, we just said, hey, we're just going to give 80% of the runs to the injured guy, and we're going to run them against a brick wall or a team that knows what we're going to do. And then our top receiver, who we always target heavily, we're going to throw him the ball mostly and try to get him in a groove while the other receivers do their other thing. And it's like, of course we're going to lose. Of course the Saints are going to be, one step ahead of us. So the main issue of this game against the Saints was just that they knew what to come in to do, and we pretty much didn't do anything to help ourselves by giving them a injured back. And then also, we're not only are we one dimensional in the fact that we rely on the run and we don't really have a good pass, but within the pass we're also one dimensional because it all has to go through T-Mac. And I'm kind of interested to see later on, like, if T-Mac sits out a game, that's what I really want to see. Like, if T-Mac's not playing and there's just League Ed, there's Coker, there's Jimmy Horn, like, how does our offense change? But Dave Canales is going to have to get better at play calling and not being so, I guess, heavy-handed and I guess kind of like predictable to the way that teams know how he wants to beat them. But I mean, then again, he did say that they want to be stubborn. But there's a time to be stubborn, and there's a time not to be, because sometimes when you're stubborn and you're going to do things, it does indeed make you predictable. But we got the Falcons next, and I think we got to be careful. We're going to be playing in Atlanta. They lost in overtime against the Colts, so they're just probably going to come out swinging, and then the Panthers don't really play too good away. So I'm right now looking at this. Let me see. Oh, it looks like Christ. I don't know. I was going to say it looks like I think the Buccaneers may have won. Let me check this out real quick before I say anything. I think the Bucks actually. Oh wait, the Patriots. Did the Patriots beat the Bucks? Let me see that the Patriots. Okay, good. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, the Patriots. The Patriots beat the Bucks, so that should still keep us one game behind the Bucks. So we could have been, had we won today, we probably would have been tied in the division. I think the Bucks probably would have still had the record, but we're still a game behind the Bucks. And this game could be a good wake up game for us. You know, like I know a lot of people are expecting us to beat the Saints, but you know, we just gotta understand that, you know, we're still, you know, coming on to it, and you know, we just gotta just do better. We gotta get that wide receiver room fixed. So, but yeah, that's it for me. This is Panthers forecast. Um, yeah, man, we gotta we gotta get this overhaul in the receiver room going pretty soon. But yeah, I expect another video for me talking about the Atlanta Falcons game and what we need to worry about, and my thoughts and my predictions and you know, analysis of that game. But this has been Panthers forecast. Saints got the best of us. You know, it was a nightmare on Main Street, and hopefully we can bounce back from this against Atlanta, and you know we can keep this push for the NFC South crown, so that way we can probably hopefully make the playoffs. Alrighty, you guys take care. Bye.